Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. This is Pro Wrestling Logic, of course. We've got close to 1,600 audios available for your listening pleasure. New school, old school, and all points in between as far as wrestling is concerned. We're also looking at some interviews as we get through the summer here a bit. Anyway, this is the first time in about a year, maybe a little longer, that other than WrestleMania, that they had live fans, and they're going in the direction of having live fans on a consistent basis. Start with a video package, welcoming fans back and showing classic moments with the fans. Vince's music hits. He walks out to a massive pop. He asks the fans where they've been, and crowd pops, takes a bow, and off he goes. Roman Reigns and the Usos with Heyman defeating Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio in 9.5 minutes, or just under. Good match, hot crowd, cool way to start the new show. Probably a bigger than average reaction because it's the first show back in such a long time. Or call it second, but first television show. Anyway, Reigns comes out, fans pop, and then they start booing him. And Rey and Dominic get a decent reaction. This is the first match of Dominic Mysterio in front of fans in WWE, so that had to be a cool feeling for him. Fans break into Edge chants right before he makes his entrance. Edge comes out to a huge pop, and then they cut to commercial immediately. Reigns distracts Edge, and Jey attacks him from behind. Fans are not happy with this. Faces take over and work over Jimmy's arm. Edge picks up Jimmy, and Rey hits a senton off the top, and then Dominic follows up with a springboard moonsault for near fall. Fans break into a Dominic chant, which was a bit surprising. Jimmy gives Dominic a knee from the apron, and Jey hits an uppercut, taking over. Reigns puts his hand out for the tag, and faces erupt into boos. Reigns, awesome, plays to the crowd and gets a whole bunch more boos there. Reigns then pulls Dominic out of the ring, gives him a powerbomb through the announce table. Back from the break, Dominic hits a tornado DDT on Jimmy. Edge gets the hot tag, runs wild on the heels. Edge avoids a Samoan drop, but gets nailed with a super kick for his trouble. Rey comes in, makes a blind tag, scores a near fall. Dominic hits a springboard crossbody block to the floor on Jimmy. Reigns then tosses Dominic into the ring post. Rey sets up 619 on Jey, but Reigns grabs Rey and pulls him to the floor. Reigns then pushes Rey into the apron. Edge hits a spear on Reigns. Finish comes when Jimmy catches Rey with a super kick, and Jey rolls him up for the win. Post-match, Usos jumps Rey and beat him up. Dominic tries making the save, but doesn't work for him. Usos overpower. Edge jumps in with a chair, takes out the Usos. Reigns jumps in, hits a Superman punch on Edge. Fans go nuts for this and booing Reigns, and Reigns celebrates, breaks off a piece of the Edge. Edge hits a piece of the chair. Edge hits a spear, and Reigns gets into the crossface. Reigns taps out, and the fans cheer. And then Edge grabs the championship, poses in the middle of the ring. Back from the break, Caleb Braxton interviews Edge. He said he's been pushed into a dark place in his soul. He promised to do whatever it takes to win the title on Sunday. Seth Rollins starts laughing hysterically. He said he's sure that Reigns is going to win, but he hopes Edge wins. He promises to win Money in the Bank, and then he's going to finish what he started 7 years ago when he had his foot on Edge's neck. Surprised to see them acknowledging something that happened more than a year ago. Anyway, Sami Zayn comes out and claims that he should be in Money in the Bank. He said he's been kept out of the match on purpose. He said now the fans need to support him. Zayn tries to get them chanting, but they boo instead. He demands a spot in the ladder match. Finn Balor's music hits, and he makes his way out. He returns to a huge pop. There are people chanting for NXT, but it's rather light. Zayn welcomes him back to the main roster and tries to attack Balor. Balor's ready for him and takes Zayn down, and then hits the coup de grace and finishes things off. They recap Shotzi and Knox debuting last week on SmackDown. They air an Apollo Crews video package highlighting his recent success. Then we go to a non-title match. Shotzi and Knox beating Natalya and Tamina in about 3.25 minutes. Match was fine for what it was. They're obviously trying to push new talent, which I think is a good thing. Weak finish. Shotzi and Knox victory earns them a future title shot. Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega join Michael Cole and Pat McCaffrey on commentary. Morgan and Vega aren't good on commentary. They keep arguing, and they kind of take things away from the match. Natalya and Tamina have an early advantage, but it doesn't last long. Fans break into a Shotzi chant. She fights back, tags in Knox. Knox goes nuts at a cannonball in the corner. Knox follows up with a shiny wizard and a near fall. Natalya recovers and goes for the sharpshooter on Knox. Basically, the ladies on commentary start brawling with each other post-match. Tamina and Natalya beat down Morgan and Vega. Morgan fights back and poses in the ring for cheers. Bianca Belair was on her way out to the ring. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode try to talk to her, but she ignores them. Bianca Belair defeats Carmella in 11 minutes. Gosh, this was way too long. Anyway, Belair and Carmella have a decent enough match, but should have been done in about half the time. Fans love Belair, and they go crazy for everything she does. She gets a special ring introduction for the match. They give her a EST chant, which is cool. Carmella slaps Belair to start the match. Belair cleans house and chases around ringside, having the early advantage. Carmella backs Belair into the corner, beats her down for a couple of minutes, getting the boos in the process. Belair does a backflip, hits a shoulder tackle, regains control, fights off the apron until Carmella pulls Belair into the ring post, and then she throws Belair into the steps for near fall. Carmella drags Belair back to the floor and throws her into the barricade. Back from the break, Belair regains control and hits a handspring splash for near fall. Then she climbs to the top rope. Carmella cuts her off, and they fight on the top turnbuckle. Carmella hits a Rana for near fall. Fans break into another EST chant. They're definitely behind Belair, and they actually have something with her. Probably the biggest woman star since the Four Horsewomen, I would imagine. They kick her off, and then Belair goes headfirst into the middle turnbuckle. Carmella locks on a guillotine submission. Belair fights out and hits a delayed vertical suplex for a close near fall of her own. They fight to the floor. Carmella hits a super kick. She grabs Belair's hair and kind of tries to tear it out in frustration. Belair recovers and whips Carmella with her ponytail, and then she hits the KOD for the win. Huge pop in that area, and then Otis and Chad Gable discussed Otis' upcoming match with Cesaro. Gable promised that Otis is going to beat Cesaro later, and Cesaro interrupts and mocks Gable and Otis. Otis jumps Cesaro and knocks him down. They air a Tori Storm vignette, which does absolutely nothing. They recapped Otis destroying the Street Profits, which again does nothing. Cesaro defeats Otis in 105 by DQ. Cesaro and Otis didn't have an actual match. It ended in disqualification. Gable runs in. Otis backs Cesaro into the corner. Gets an early advantage. Otis misses a splash and hits the ring post. Gable hits a German suplex on Cesaro for the disqualification. Cesaro fights back. Otis attacks Cesaro, beats him down, hits a Vader bomb. Caleb Braxton interviews Heyman. Heyman promised that Reigns is going to beat everything out of Edge on Sunday. He also promises Reigns would beat Edge to retain the title. Heyman then is about to say that he's not a... this isn't a promise, it's a spoiler. Big E interrupts. Big E promised to win at Money in the Bank in the ladder match, and he mocks Reigns and mentions Edge putting him on into the crossface. Baron Corbin segment, they recap his recent stuff. What a goofy bit here. Anyway, so Corbin walks to the ring. He looks sad. Corbin gets on his knees, begs the fans. Kevin Owens' music hits and gets a big pop. Corbin begs Owens for money. He points out that Owens doesn't spend money on his wardrobe so he can afford it. Owens hits a stunner. Big E's music hits and he comes out in time for the main event. This is just honestly, this is the flattest thing on the show. Fatal 4-Way, Seth Rollins defeats Big E, Kevin Owens, and King Nakamura in 8 minutes. Fine match. Back from the break, Nakamura hits and Rollins make their entrances. Bell rings, Rollins tells the others to fight it out. He steps out on the apron, promises to see them Sunday. Big E then hits a spear on Rollins off the apron. Rollins barely misses hitting his head on one of the ladders that set up at ringside. Owens then hits a dive onto Big E, and Nakamura follows up with a knee off the apron, and then they cut to another commercial break. Back from the break, Owens climbs the top rope. Big E cuts him off. He attempts a superplex, but Owens blocks the move. Nakamura and Big E team up and give Owens a double superplex, and then Rollins misses a frog splash. Nakamura takes out and knocks Rollins to the floor with a knee, and then he goes for a Kinshasa on Owens. Big E catches Nakamura with a big ending for a near fall. Rollins breaks up the pin attempt and brings out a ladder. Rollins then knocks Nakamura to the floor and clears the announce table. Rollins climbs the ladder. Owens pulls him down. Owens then climbs the top of the ladder and hits a elbow onto Nakamura. Crowd pops for the spot. Rollins to curve stomp on Big E. Off the ladder for the win. Post-match, Rollins climbs up the ladder, pulls down the briefcase, and insinuates he'll win at Money in the Bank. Next week, SmackDown's from Cleveland, and also at a music festival in Miami. Not a bad show, probably the best of the SmackDown on Fox era shows. We'll be back with more right after this.